Yo, welcome back to my page. My name is Albert Gorman of Delmont Film and Photography, and this is your first time here. Please hit the like and subscribe. And if you already been here, then hey, you already know how it gets down, man. But today, I want to talk about what's in my camera bag going into 2026. So we're gonna do a 5-part series, though. We're gonna do the 5 most things that I use in 2025 going into 2026. So that will be my 3 main cameras, my gimbal, and my drone. And we're gonna be breaking down how I use these things practically. Some BTS, some like images from the camera stuff, and just showing y'all the results of it and why these things were so important to me in 2025 and why I continue to use them going into 2026. So with that being said, let's hit the intro and let's get right into it. All right, y'all, so let's get into the first item on my list. It is the Sony A7 IV. It is my workhorse powerhouse camera. I've been using it all year 2025, and actually I think I had it for about 3 years. It is a gem, man. It is a workhorse. It does everything I needed to do. Amazing image at the 4K with down sample from 7K, I believe, and the image, it looks really nice. I use it in weddings, I use it in real estate. It is my main real estate camera actually when it comes to photo and video. The ISO, the base ISO of 800 and 3200 and SLOT3 has been great for me. It does really good in low light in my opinion, especially being a full frame camera. Of course, it's not gonna match up to the FX3, but in all my scenarios, maybe because I have used it for the last 3 years, I figured out all my workarounds. I have bought a lot of lights to kind of set up the scene for my shots. In real estate, you don't really get a chance to do that, so I do bump up the ISO to about 50,000 or whatnot, and it still comes out great. You know what I mean? So ultimately, this is a workhorse of a camera. It does great images at 33 megapixels. It still has the 2 card slots on there. So whenever I'm doing an important event or important session, I do use the double card slots. Only once I actually did have to go into the second slot. It was, let's say, out of like, I don't know, 100 shots that we took, one of them was corrupted, believe it or not. It wasn't a crucial scene, but still, it did happen. So with that being said, you don't want that to happen on the most crucial scene. So whenever I do feel like it's appropriate, I do go with the redundant recording, with this camera, and it allows you to do so, unlike my other camera there. So with that being said, like, this is a workhorse. It is my most used camera in 2025. I don't really see it changing in 2026. Yes, I know that Sony has released a new version of it, the upgraded Sony A7 IV, and I checked out the specs. I looked at all the videos, and it looks amazing to me. It looks like a real upgrade from this camera, but this camera seems to still get the job done very well going into 2026, so I'm not in a rush. I do have crop sensor lenses that allowed me to shoot at 4K 60 in the super wide, perspective and whatnot. So I guess I found the workarounds around it. I do have crop sensor lens cameras, so I do buy a lot of lights to light up my scenes. So ultimately, I figured out a way to just make this thing run perfectly for me. I've never had an overheat issue in a professional setting so far. And again, I guess the more you work with your camera, you get to know it. It becomes like your baby. So I kind of know when it's not feeling well. It's like, come on, man, chill out. But overall, no complaints from the A7 IV. Amazing camera, amazing. Just a really solid camera. Of course, the downsides of it, like I said, for some people, they say they get overheating. I never really experienced that issue too tough. It also has that cropping to 4K 60, but again, if you use crop sensor lenses, you can still get a full frame image out of it, like the Sigma 17-40, which is the 1.8. So you still kind of get that full frame value from a camera like this if you really want to go into 4K, right, with the 60 frames per second. Doesn't have 120 in 4K, so that's kind of unfortunate, but me personally, I never really used it. Even on my FX30, I have never shot in 120 frames per second because it just wasn't necessary for any of the work that I do, right? I do a lot of corporate work as well, where we're just doing talking head stuff like what you're seeing right now. I am using the FX30 to film myself, so as you can see, it does amazing for those kind of jobs. And for weddings, I do have it on the gimbal, and it does great with that as well. But we'll be talking about the FX30 in a totally different video. But again, A7 IV is still good in 2026. Don't let nobody fool you. I think any camera within the last 3 years is sufficient enough for pro consumers, and allows even people to be a professional, because I am a professional. I make over 6 figures doing this, and I use this crop sensor lenses. Everything is still professionally equipment, but you know, you just don't fall for the hype that people tell you need to always get full frame. I have worked in bigger productions and stuff look fine. I'm able to match up my coloring and whatnot. And obviously in certain scenarios you might want a red, like a 6K pocket, or you know, maybe a FX6 or something like that. Those are all, in my opinion, specialty cameras in certain scenarios. But for the broad range of like 50% of content creators out there, I'll say nothing more than the A6700 will be fine. And if you're a professional and you really want to make money and you want to have reliability, I think that Sony A7 IV is the best option out there if you want to go for Sony. But then again, Sony does a thing where they have a lot of cameras, so it's still up to you, but this is just my opinion, and that's it for that. So stay locked in, hit the like and subscribe. Stay locked into the video number 2. I will be talking about the next camera or the next piece of gear that I used in 2025 and I will still be using in 2026. Let's get it.